been watching some of these reviews on the movie Bikeriders, the Bikeriders, and I don't like some of the reviews. I think there was one from Professional Monkey that was excellent, though. He's actually somebody who's familiar with all this stuff, but most of the time people are making comparisons to, who's that? The Goodfellas, right? And I was like, the movie's not supposed to be about that. It's actually based upon a true book. That's the reason they use the title, The Bikeriders. It's based upon the book titled The Bikeriders. The book actually is about the Outlaws MC in Chicago, or Chicago Outlaws in that area, in the Midwest, in the mid-1960s. It was written, or the pictures and the interviews were taken by the guy that was an outlaw. He was in a club for 4 or 5 years during the mid-60s. So it's an accurate book. And the movie itself seems to be very accurate. Now, I was going to go see the movie today, but I was out working on my air conditioning unit, which got pretty much all fixed now. I got a little more to do. And that was pretty important, getting the AC working here in Florida. But I ain't been out to a movie. I'm 69 years old. I haven't been to a movie since I was 17, 1972. And I haven't been to any movies. I never went to a movie theater in all those decades. That's how good I think this movie is. I was watching a lot of the clips, and it looks like it's true right to, the real McCoy. The thing is that got me was I'm looking at some of these reviews, and I'm saying to myself, these people that are reviewing the movies, they're very familiar with movies, which I'm not. I was not even familiar with any of these actors in this movie. I mean, I didn't even hear of Hardy. I mean, I heard of the Hardy Boys, which was a book back then. Back when I was 15, they told you to read it in school. I didn't even know who this guy was. But I was kind of looking at these clips, and I says, wow, they really did a great and accurate job on the bikes and everything. And just the way everybody's acting, too. I mean, it looks really, really good. Now, the thing I like about this, though, is that it's not the typical... Well, it's based, it's about as accurate as you can get to the book, or the pictorial and interview account from that was written, that was called The Bikeriders by the same title. And the guy that wrote it was, he was an outlaw himself. He was an Outlaws MC. Now, if you look at these patches and stuff, that's even in the movies, you could tell it's definitely about the Outlaws MC. But the Outlaws MC didn't produce this movie. This is the thing where I think this is like a big boon, because you're not glamorizing anything. You're just telling it as accurate as possible. And this may be, this is probably related to how things were in the 1960s, but to me this is going to be pretty accurate Outlaws MC history, whether it was produced by the Outlaws MC or not. And the fact that it was basically produced third party and by people that were fans of the book and the biker culture, and a lot of these guys in this movie, they've been riding. I think one guy, the guy with the rotten teeth they showed in here, he did that on the movie on purpose to give it some kind of authenticity. But he it's like you got to look at it like it's not really supposed to be something where they're copying another movie or they're trying to. It's really meant to be pretty much almost like a documentary, because that's what that book was intended to do. It was supposed to document what was going on with the club in the 1960s. Now here, this is actually a scene from one of the movie, and this is supposed to be Benny, and the real Benny's actually it's just like it. It's the same picture, that famous picture. He's riding across the bridge, and the real Benny's got dark hair. He's facing the opposite direction. But he turns around and he looks, and they snapped a photo. I mean, everybody saw that photo everywhere. Like, the thing is, I guess everybody hasn't. Everybody that is into motorcycling for a while has seen that photo. They recreated it in a movie. I think that was freaking awesome. This part, going through that thing like that, that was, I can say this, if you're riding a motorcycle, I don't care how careful you are, you're always in danger. That's where part of the camaraderie comes into being. Now, I also want to point out, this is another indication. This is like, you look at these patches here. This 1%er diamond, this says Vandals 1%er. It's very much like the Outlaws, except it says Outlaws. And this patch here, I don't know if you can make it out. It's a round patch. It's got the hand. And, the Outlaws MC one would have the hand with the middle finger coming up. And that's in reference to the bureaucratic overlords from the American Motorcycle Associations. Like, in other words, the Outlaws are being the good guys. Sort of like, the bureaucratic overlords of YouTube, right? Can't even say anything on this thing anymore. That's why you wonder I don't produce any videos anymore. But this would say, A, then this would be O and an A. American Outlaws Association with the hand. I don't know if I got a better shot of that someplace else. This guy, I forgot who the actor was, but he's been riding a long time. He's riding, a hand shift, jockey shift. It's like on his in a movie, which was freaking cool. So, he, the thing is, it's not meant to be like another movie. It's meant to, do justice to an historical account that the book, even though the book wasn't really a storybook, it was a picture book with interviews, a lot of interviews. And they actually had some voice clips of this girl here who's doing a narration. She actually did the voice as similar as possible to, the real person. So I think that, the movie is probably not meant for everybody, but, I'm looking at some of these reviewers and I'm saying to myself, they're looking at it completely different from the way I look at it. Because, like I said, I'm going to be going to watch this movie. As soon as I get my air conditioning fixed, I got to do some duct work on it. Pretty much got it fixed now, but I got to do the rest of it. I was going to go today, and I haven't. That's saying a lot. I'm not so movie aficionado. I don't have Netflix. I don't care about movies. Like I told you, I don't even know who these actors were. They're telling me they were in this movie, and he was in that movie, and this was a guy. One of the guys is Austin and Hardy, and the chick was a Jody or something. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know who the hell they are. I have no clue. I have no clue who these people are. I'm looking at this movie and I'm saying to myself, this is great. This is good stuff. This looks like, I should mention this because the biker stuff, I know some people will tell you the biker stuff in the 90s was more hardcore. In the late 80s, it was already going fluffy bullcrap. It really was in the late 80s. One of the magazines out there that was addressing that and keeping the real biker stuff going was Iron Horse. That was run by David Snow back then for like 10 years from like, I guess, the mid 80s to 97 or something like that, or 87 to 97 or something like that. David Snow. And, I remember following along. He had his Super Glide shovel head, and he was trying to make it a 93-inch stroker and doing all that stuff with the oiling system and the kickstart and the magneto and having all these damn problems with it and stuff. And he used to have, I think, mouthing off with Junkman, and I know he got fired off that magazine. I know that because he was offering a prize of a couple females for a contest right in the magazine. It was really biker stuff. It wasn't because they were already Easy Riders magazine when it first came out was one thing, and then it started getting to be stupid, and it was already getting screwed up in the 80s. So this is going back to the 60s, and this is where you got the essence of, the bikerdom, and it's about what I say. I know there's a couple clubs maybe you could say are maybe older, and I think it's actually a non 1% club that's in. Yeah, this is a Jody, what her name was. I saw it right there. Yeah, I think you could see his patch right here. Well, you can't see it that good right there. That's right off this is right off the Outlaws MC patch. Even the back patch is pretty similar. The book is about the Outlaws MC, basically. What I like, though, is that this is going to give some great history to the American public, and, it's like, it's like a Wild West thing. That's what I really kind of emphasize more than anything Wild West, camaraderie, freedom in real ways, not the way it started getting even in the late 80s. And the fact that this had nothing to do with the Outlaws MC producing this, they had absolutely nothing to do with this. It's just by a guy that was a fan of the book, indirectly being a fan of the Outlaws MC, I guess. This is going to be a big marketing boom for them, and I think what I saw was kind of unfair is that the Hells Angels has always had a lot of Hollywood influence because not just Sonny Barger getting in there, but they were in California. Outlaws is in the Midwest. They came down to Florida. Now they're big in they've been big in Florida. Actually, I think their headquarters is in Tampa, not far from me. But the thing is, the Outlaws MC, even though they're the oldest, and they're like you would say in size, they're very well. Banditos and the Outlaws. I think the Banditos and the Outlaws, they're kind of tied together pretty good in some ways. I don't know I don't know the politics of all this shit, but the Hells Angels have benefited a lot from being near Hollywood, and the fact that you got all these movies with the Hells Angels in it, that helps their recruitment because these kids watch that stuff when they're 15, and so now you're going to see a movie about the Outlaws that the Outlaws didn't even produce, that's just dead on balls accurate as possible as a movie can get, and it's based upon the book. And again, this is the patch. The patch is it looks a lot like Charlie somewhat. It's like this would have said Chicago on the top, Outlaws on the bottom back in the day. The Outlaws has went over different. I don't know all their history, but they deserve more. Marketing, I guess. And this is, even though this is not intended to be a marketing tool for the Outlaws, in a way, it's going to be that. It's going to be that. And it's going to be a good thing because, these clubs, the fact that the media does not like a lot of the 1% outlaw clubs, quote unquote. The outlaw comes from the American Motorcycle Association, throwing that label on them. The fact that the media does not like them, it tells you that they're good. Anything the media hates is good. That's dead on right there. And even if if that pretty much that goes with anything. The bureaucracy is out there to stifle everything we do. So I think this is going to help people to think freer, be more independent, stand up for themselves, bond together when, they basically put the screws to you too much. Now, if I can't put this video up on YouTube, it's going to be up somewhere else, but whatever, I'm going to try it. Like I said, I haven't been putting any videos up where I just comment on things. I just go to car shows and stuff. I wish I could go to more. I wish there was more bike shows around here. I would go to some of those damn things, but the stuff I would put out, they probably wouldn't allow it on the platform. So, but man, I tell you what, they went through a lot of trouble to get this movie accurate. And when they doing the old Hells Angels, I'd say the one good movie I thought was good from the Hells Angels though was Hells Angels Forever, the one they produced, not the ones Hollywood produced. Even though the Hells Angels were advisors, the one they produced with that guy Vinny and stuff, which what happened to him later on. Sandy Alexander, the president of New York. Basically, that was the one that Hells Angels produced. I don't even know if that was the title I said, or was the right title. But like I said, I don't watch movies. But when I saw this movie, I says, yeah, this movie is going to be absolutely great. And I try to see as many clips as possible. I was watching. I'm watching these things really slow, and I'm looking at all the detail. I'm like, damn, they did a stellar job on this. And the thing is, there's no CGI, computer graphics stuff. There's none of that. No green screen. No, and most of the stuff that's being done on here, it's not even done. I mean, most of it, the actors are actually riding the bikes. That's another thing. And then when they got these bikes in here, man, they got all the right bikes. They didn't get any screwed up. They didn't get any like, 80. You don't see like an Evolution or a Twin Cam in here dressed up like an old bike or something. None of that stuff. They're all the real bikes. So, I mean, I like I said, I didn't gone to a movie in a movie theater since I was 17 years old or maybe 15 years old. I have never gone to a freaking movie theater. I don't, I'm not a guy that watches movies. I'm the guy that used to get the VHS tapes and get all the movies. I wasn't the guy that watching that stuff, and I used to just like go out and, well, actually before I got on a motorcycle, I used to like ride bicycle. You go out there and ride like a lot of times over 100 miles. That's how I even got into the motorcycle. I was just like the two wheels. Weird, huh? I never got into the biker lifestyle culture, all that gizmo stuff. I just like riding. Ride forever. That's when I got into the motorcycle from the bicycle. I got into the bicycle because I used to like to exercise like crazy too, But I just liked it. I don't know what it was. I always called it my two-wheeled slut. That's like my bike I call Satan's whore, okay? I'm probably going to delete that too. I'll put this video up somewhere else. They say community guidelines or some shit. Whatever, fuck it. Anyway, these guys are a bunch of lame asses. But that's how the Outlaws came about. You get ridiculous rules and you take out all the fun. You just go somewhere else and you be outlaws. It's kind of hard to do on a platform though, because they pretty much own your ass. But ask Scotty, Scooter Tramp Scotty. Actually, I gave that dude my address and phone number and shit. I told him he comes. I'm close to Leesburg, where they have the Leesburg Bike Fest, and also Windy Acres. I'm even closer to Windy Acres Farm, where they got the over 21 motorcycle events. I told him to come on down next time. So, But anyway, we'll see how this flies. This is going to be my test case for these guys. So anyway, over and out. But I'm going to tell you, I think again, this movie is going to be in its class of its own. I think most people are not going to understand it. I think the reason it's in a class of its own is because it's a very sincere attempt to get as accurate as possible the 60s biker culture, particularly of the Outlaws MC as was depicted in the book, The Bikeriders. That's why the movie has that title. Now they can't, since this is not something with the Outlaws MC, they can't use, Outlaws MC on the back and the patches and all that shit. They didn't consult the Outlaws MC when they did this thing. They just consulted the book. It's based upon the book. But I think this is going to be a big... It's going to help the Outlaws, because this movie is worth 10 Hell's Angels movies. Over and out.